Welcome back to Predicting the NFL with Mickey G. It is now week 16 of the NFL season, which means we only have a couple weeks left, so we gotta lock in, baby. So last week we went 13-3. Okay, that's our third straight week of only 3 incorrect predictions. So we're on a pretty solid hot streak, 3 weeks in a row of 10 plus. So we're doing good there. Game of the week we got correct. The upset we got correct as well. After 4 weeks straight of incorrect upset predictions, we finally got one again. Crap Fest we got correct as well, meaning we got those 3 special games correct, and then we also were correct in our jersey pick prediction because we picked the Giants to lose. So that's now 4 in a row straight, and all 4 against the Giants. However, that doesn't mean the Giants did lose because I did wear their jersey, but bummers for them. Good stuff for me. Now the total for the season is 146-78, 7-8 in games of the week, 5-10 in upsets, 6-9 in crap fests. Teams rating 7 when I wear the jersey, and my picks for the jersey games are 9-6. Overall, for week 15, we are now 57-39. 1-4 in games of the week, 1-4 in upsets, 2-3 in crap fests. Teams are 0-1, and my picks are 1-0 in the jersey games. So let's recap last week. The Texans beat the Dolphins in what was an awful game from Tua. He really went out there as Tua turned the ball over. The Bengals smacked the Titans, but for a while, Will Levis and Joe Burrow were trading turnovers back and forth, so kind of gross from both of them, actually. The Jets beat the Jags in what was an actual close game down to the wire. Solid game to watch, honestly. Mac Jones doing a great job leading the tank, keeping it close, making it fun for the fans that go to the game, but still losing, and they did look sharp in those Prowler unis. The Chiefs beat the Browns, but Pat Mahomes was getting smacked around a lot. He's feeling a little injured, and maybe he won't play this week. I don't think it really matters. I'm pretty sure they're playing a poverty opponent. I don't know. They're playing the Texans, which I mean the AFC South. I'm not hot on the Texans, anyways. But if he's down, then that means they have Carson Wentz, who's not a slouch at the backup quarterback position. So I think they'll be fine either way. But that's a different story. The Colts lost to the Broncos because they are in fact bad. Bo Nix, however, did not have a good game either. It's just they were playing Anthony Richardson and the Colts. The Ravens smacked the Giants, like I mentioned already. The Buccaneers smacked the Chargers. I kind of didn't like my pick of picking the Chargers after I made it, but I decided to stick with it, and now I'm upset that I did because the Buccaneers, they looked phenomenal. And they're sneakily being one of the best teams in the NFL since Mike Evans has been back. They're on a 4-game win streak, and they could end the season on like an 8-game win streak. Their last 3 opponents are the Cowboys, Panthers, and Saints. So they don't have a ton stopping them from just knocking out of the park. Maybe a 12-6 season or something ridiculous for them. 11-6 season. My bad. 11-6 season for them would be phenomenal. The Cardinals beat the Patriots. Not a real shocker there. The Bills were pretty handedly beating the Lions. Jared Goff with a masterclass in garbage time, though, to make it look like it was close, even though the Bills were just ahead the whole time. The Eagles beat the Steelers. This one wasn't very close. Pickens out really hurt them, and it'll be interesting to see if he comes back because they really need him offensively. He changes the entirety of their offensive outlook. The Falcons beat the Raiders, but disappointing performance from Cousins. Fortunately for him, he was playing against Desmond Ridder, so he did get the win. But he's getting benched this week for Michael Penix Jr., and Ridder will not be seeing the field unless Aiden O'Connell is unavailable. So 2 quarterback switch-ups after last week's game. The Rams beat the Niners, which was one of the ugliest games anyone has ever seen. I didn't see it, though. I wasn't watching Thursday Night Football. You can't catch me doing that. That's why this week I'm going to watch Sonic 3 instead. The Washington Commanders beat the Saints in what was a close one. Jake Kanner did not play great, and then Spencer Rattler came in and decided to play some functional football, but it was too little too late, and a 2-point conversion miss gave them the L. The Cowboys smacked the Panthers. Cooper Rush legacy game. Bryce Young A little bit of regression there after a couple great weeks in a row, but maybe he'll bounce back afterwards. The Packers beat up on the Seahawks. This was not very close, and a small injury to Geno Smith could keep him sidelined, but he's expecting to play this week. And the Bears got routed by the Vikings in some uniforms that I'm still not locked in on. I think there could have been a little more purple and maybe better use of the silver. I don't know. They're kind of weird looking. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but they're fine. But they did smack the Bears, so I did enjoy watching that. But that's how last week went. Let's get into this week's predictions. First on our list, our Thursday night game, we have the Browns at the Bengals, and this is a gross one, folks. Thursday night with the bottom two teams of the division in the AFC North. Not a great thing for television. The Browns are starting DTR. Dorian Thompson-Robinson getting the start after he got a little bit of time, I think, last week in their game against the Chiefs. I don't understand teams deciding to bench quarterbacks after bad performances against good teams. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The Colts did it with Flacco. He played tough opponents and they lost. They're like, oh, I guess we have to go back to Anthony Richardson. And then Anthony Richardson played a bad opponent and won a football game. Guys, look at who you're playing and then how they play against them. When they play against bad opponents, Jameis was looking good. I mean, he was putting up numbers. He beat the Steelers, okay? It was a Thursday, but still. Now they're benching him for DTR, which has no real upside. So, confusing move for them, and that's a big reason why I'm picking the Bengals in this one. Next is the Texans at the Chiefs. I mentioned before, potential Patrick Mahomes injury. I don't think it truly matters. I think with this coaching staff and with his own skill set and just the fact that I'm not impressed by the Texans team this year, I think the Chiefs get it no matter what, even if Carson Wentz is their quarterback for this game. Next is the Steelers at the Ravens, the other game that's on a Saturday. Forgot to mention that. Here's the thing. This is our upset of the week. All right, heavy favorites in favor of the Ravens, but if we remember last time these teams played, Lamar didn't do a whole lot against that Steelers defense. I think the Steelers can get it, and I'm thinking Pickens might be back for this one. Let me take a glance at that. There's not a whole lot of information out right now about Pickens' injury. Watt also dealing with a little bit, but he was limited so far this week. I think there'll be at least one of them will be healthy back, and I think the Steelers can still do it because in this division, it can go either way, and I really do think the Steelers kind of own Lamar and the Ravens. They've been real successful against them for years, and I think that's going to continue. Next is the almost crap fest of the week. We have the Titans at the Colts. Titans, real bad. Benching Will Levis this week, actually. Mason Rudolph getting the start. Colts, Anthony Richardson. Now, you might be thinking, oh, he's going to pick the Titans then. As a big hater of Anthony Richardson with Mason Rudolph starting instead of Will Levis, you'd actually be incorrect. I think the Titans are just so bad that it doesn't even matter if Rudolph is starting. I think they may look better. I think it might be a close game, perhaps. But unfortunately, the Colts are the better team, and they can just pound the rock with JT, let's be honest here. So, Colts, I think, are going to still get this one, plus it's Indianapolis. That helps a little bit. Next is the Patriots at the Bills. My brother thinks this is going to be a close game with a small victory from the Bills. I disagree. This should not be close at all. Bills should smack the Patriots. It's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be 40 points for the third straight week for the Bills offense, but I think they're still going to put up solid numbers. Next is the Broncos at the Chargers. This is actually our game of the week. Actually, my bad. I forgot this is actually our Thursday night game. The Bengals-Browns game got moved to Sunday because apparently no one wanted to watch that. Thursday night game, I don't like that for this matchup. This should be a good game, but unfortunately it is in that Thursday night matchup spot. It's in Los Angeles, which doesn't mean a whole lot for home field advantage, but I still do like the Chargers. I think they can get at Bo Nix and hurt him. I think that he's going to struggle in this game. I think Herbert can go out there and out-duel him and get the victory for the Chargers. Next is the Jags at the Raiders. This is our crap fest of the week. Third straight crap fest for the Jags. And I'm actually going to pick them in this one. The Raiders have looked worse than any team in the league the last few weeks. Jags actually putting up points the last couple weeks. And I think that's going to continue here. The Raiders look awful. AOC is not the guy. Ritter's not the guy. They don't have the guy on the roster. Gardner Minshew's a nice fill-in guy for a season, but I don't think he's good enough with how they're looking to keep things going. And their running back room stinks as well. Jags, I think are actually going to have a chance of getting this football game. Next is the Rams at the Jets. I think the Rams should beat up the Jets in this one. They have a little mini bye going on from their Thursday night game last week, and the Jets are just not a good football team. Barely squeaking out a victory against the Jags. That's poverty. And the Rams quietly becoming the head of that division there. They've looked real good the last few weeks. They don't look great necessarily on Thursday, but that doesn't count. But they're building up to a spot. They're healthy. They got both guys available, Puka and Kupp. And after last week of Kupp having 0-0-0, I think that changes heavily here, and he has a big game. And next we have the Niners at the Dolphins. Niners been disappointing. They're coming off a mini bye as well, of course. I think that's going to be huge. Dolphins, bad performance from Tua last week, and I think maybe another one comes again. I think the Niners can win this game. The Dolphins are not a great football team, and I think this is going to hurt them. So Niners getting this one. Next is the Lions at the Bears. Oh my, this should not be close. Lions, tough loss last week to the Bills. A lot of injuries going on, but I don't think it's going to matter against this Bears team. This Bears team is bad. So, Lions going to get an easy one here. And next is the Giants at the Falcons. Unfortunately, I've already worn both of these teams' jerseys this year, so I couldn't have it be 5 weeks in a row that I picked the Giants to lose while wearing a jersey. So, still going with the Falcons, though. Michael Penix with his first career start. You know, it took him about 16 weeks to get there, but he's there, and I'm actually very excited for this. I think this is going to be a good thing for him against a really low opponent that he should be able to try out and see what he can do in this National Football League. And it might be my most anticipated game of the day, honestly. I want to see what he can do. I'm very excited for that matchup. Next is the Eagles at the Commanders. Last time these two teams played, I picked the Commanders. That's not happening this time. They've had a lot of close wins or poor victories against teams. They got upset by the Cowboys a few weeks ago. They only beat the Saints, led by Rattler and Hayner, by 1 point this week. The Eagles, on the other hand, beat the Steelers by multiple scorers, who are a good team. So Eagles are going to continue here. I was hating on the Eagles early in the season, but I'm tired of getting picks wrong, so I'm going with the Eagles here. Next is the Cardinals at the Panthers. I thought they could do it last week. I was a proponent of the Panthers against that really not great Cowboys team, but they disappointed me. Bryce Young disappointed me, and I'm not letting that happen again. All right, Cardinals going out and get there. They're in that tough West Division. They're not out of the playoffs yet. They're going to try and fight and get in there, so they got to make sure that they get more victories, so this is a big one for them. And next is the Vikings at the Seahawks. This was a potential game of the week matchup here, but the Seahawks last couple weeks have been getting a little exposed. They have not looked superb. They did not look great against the Packers, and if they don't have Geno Smith, then Sam Howell's their quarterback, and that's not a great thing for going up against the Vikings defense. So this should not be a close one either. Vikings, I'm going heavily here. And next we have the Buccaneers at the Cowboys. Buccaneers are on a hot streak, and that's continuing here. No messing around. Cowboys are not great. Buccaneers have been looking fantastic. They're going to continue here with another victory. And our last game of this week is the Saints at the Packers. It's our jersey game of the week. We got Clay Matthews repping here. And we know where's this going. All right. Carr has been ruled out again. Maybe not officially, but he's not playing this week. Hayner, I don't think is expected to play. I think Rattler's getting the start, which is not a great thing for them. So I'm definitely going Packers here. They had a big win last week against the Seahawks, and I think they're getting another big win here. So Packers, they're fighting to stay at the top and get that wild card spot. It's pretty much theirs. Vikings, Packers, they'd have to really Vikings can technically take the division still, but Vikings, Lions, Packers, there's 3 playoff spots for those teams as long as they don't completely collapse and someone just turns it on here. And that's all the predictions for this week. So cool. We actually had a lot of views on last week's video, so that was pretty sick. Not a lot of likes though. So if you're here, I don't know, give it a like. It makes me feel better about myself, you know? So cool. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.